So we've done the first three quadrants. There was the start quadrant, there was the past quadrant, there was the now quadrant, and now we're stepping into the future quadrant. So the first step of the two in this quadrant is planning. So how does planning form part of the Mind Chi process, Vanda?
This is really to enable us to go forward 24 hours and to run that video into the future and to say, I probably know some things that I have to do in that 24-hour block. And so that's an easy part. But what people don't think about, which is so crucial, is how would I like to be during that 24 hours? If you think that maybe you have a difficult meeting, you have to see somebody that you don't get on very well with, that you have an exam or something that really is going to give you some anxiousness or is going to require you to really think and focus, then you take a moment here to say, what is the best emotion to make sure that I'm ready to be the absolute best that I can be as I go through doing what I have to do? And so you'll select, maybe I need to be very flexible. Maybe I need to listen very, very carefully. Maybe I need to be ready to be allowing for things to not be the way that they were. Maybe I need to be playful at a certain point. What do I need to be? And the way to remember how important this is that we are human beings, not human doings. So this will help us, and it will mean that as you go through your 24 hours, when you get to that point where there's something that maybe is requiring a little extra, you're ready with the best emotion to help you.
It's really interesting how now you've laid out that for me planning is what am I going to do, what am I going to do, what am I going to do, what am I going to do. But when you suddenly lay out, well, if you also plan how you want to feel and how you want to think, I'm suddenly going, duh, that now makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And to tap into those. And what advice would you give to someone who is anticipating in that manner for the first time, thinking and feeling? They've never done that before. What advice would you give to make that easier for them?
This is a lovely time for you to go and look at all those emotions. There's rooms that I mentioned earlier down that long, long corridor. And to really maybe take some time whenever you've got a spare moment or two and to think about all the positive emotions, the constructive emotions, the emotions that will help you to be able to be the best you can be in any difficult situation or in any nice situation as well. And then you will have prepared yourself so that you can go in, and even if it is difficult, you are going to still manage it much better than if you had spent that entire 24 hours or maybe longer, as I've known many people, dreading, anticipating the worst happening, afraid of this, afraid of that, afraid of something else. When, of course, they finally get there, often it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy in that they have dreaded that they're going to trip over. And what do? They trip over. And so if you have seen yourself elegantly entering the room, then it's far more likely you will elegantly enter the room.
So you've talked about creating a mental video of that. And one of the questions I have about this, should you be third party watching you do it, or should you try and put yourself in the situation, imagine it as it happens to you? What's your recommendation?
And again, I think it's very personal, Michael. I think you just, whichever one you naturally do. Both of them are equally effective. The important point about it is that the brain cannot often pull apart reality, whatever that is, from what's going on. And so if you have prepared, and of course, athletes use this a tremendous amount, where they prepare their mind as well as their body for whatever it is they are going to be doing. And so it's so important in any manner to just go ahead and get it to be what you want it to be, not to allow a million and one other things to be the possibility.
I know we're only trying to do this in a minute, What's your thoughts on actually writing some of this down?
Absolutely. You know, if this is a guideline, and if it serves you, and I often suggest to people when they start doing this, keep a journal. And in fact, I've got a 21-day or 28-day tracker where people can just note each day how are they doing, what are their thoughts, etc. Because it is very good feedback to yourself. If you are a journal keeper, yes. If you want to stop at the end of each minute, that gives you some feedback, then yes. If you want to wait to the end of the 8 minutes and then do it, yes. And if you don't want to do it, if you're not somebody who likes to do that, that's fine too.
Fabulous. So that was step 7, which was all about planning, which is the first step of looking towards the future. So let's move on to the next step.